They say the first year of marriage is the hardest. I just didn't expect it to be optional. My name's Derek. I'm 29. And a year ago, I stood in front of our closest friends and family, holding Kelsey's trembling hands, looking into her teary blue eyes, and swearing to love her forever. Through every season, every storm, every Sunday morning and late-night pizza run, I meant every word. I think I still did. We weren't perfect. No one is. But I genuinely believed we were good. We laughed. We fought sometimes, but we always found our way back to each other. Or at least I did. Kelsey was the kind of woman who made you feel lucky just being noticed. She had this chaotic sparkle to her. You know the type. Wild in a way that feels like freedom, but leaves a mess behind when it moves on. But I didn't care. I loved the mess. We'd been together for 3 years before we got married. Lived together for 2. I knew about her past. The parties, the exes, the short-lived spiritual awakening in Costa Rica. I even met a few of her old flings. Apparently, she's the type to stay friends. I wasn't thrilled, but I figured that phase of her life had passed. She chose me, right? I was the one she married. So when our 1-year anniversary rolled around, I didn't expect anything dramatic. Maybe dinner, a bottle of wine, some bad dancing in the kitchen. I brought home flowers, red and white roses, her favorite. I even cooked. Well, I tried. She laughed at the burnt garlic bread and kissed me on the nose. It felt normal. Good. Then she opened her gift, a framed photo of us from our honeymoon, standing barefoot on the beach in Tulum, sun-drunk and in love. And she started crying, not the happy kind. I froze. Hey, what's wrong? She wiped her tears and forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. It's beautiful. I need to talk to you. Now, I'm not stupid. When a woman says that and her face looks like she's about to confess to killing your dog, you listen. We sat on the couch. I turned off the music. She took a deep breath. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a total bitch, she began. That's never a good start. I love you, Derek, I do, but lately I've been feeling trapped. Like I skipped a step in life I wasn't ready to let go of yet. I blinked. What step? She looked down at her wine. My wild phase. My freedom. My 304 era. Yes, she actually used the number, said it like it was a chapter in some coming-of-age novel. Chapter 12. Hoe phase. I stared at her. You mean, you want to cheat on me? No, she said quickly. No, not cheat, just explore. Be free. I feel like I went from being single to being a wife too fast. And I love you, but I need to feel like me again. Just for a little while. I'm not asking for a divorce, I'm just asking for patience. I felt the floor tilt. You want me to sit here and wait while you go have your little identity crisis? She winced. You're twisting it. I'm quoting it. Silence. Tense. Heavy. Like the pause before a car crash. I stood up. So what am I supposed to do? Just be your husband in standby mode? Hold the fort while you go find yourself on Tinder? She stood too, frustrated. Derek, this is why I didn't want to bring it up. You're being dramatic. I laughed. A bitter, shaky laugh. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize being faithful made me dramatic. She flinched at that. It's not about hooking up with other people. Then what the hell is it about? She didn't answer. And that was the moment it hit me. She didn't know. Or maybe she did, and just didn't want to say it out loud. Because that would make her the bad guy. And Kelsey? Kelsey never wanted to be the bad girl. I didn't sleep that night. Kelsey went to bed like nothing happened. Curled up on her side, back to me, like she always did. I just stared at the ceiling, listening to the slow tick of the wall clock and the occasional sound of her breathing. She had dropped a bomb and then just powered down. Around 3 a.m., I got up and sat in the kitchen, nursing cold coffee and my pride. My brain was looping like a broken record. I'm not asking for a divorce, just patience. Patience? That's what you ask for when someone's learning an instrument, not when they're deciding whether or not to keep their vows. I tried to wrap my head around it. Maybe she was overwhelmed. Maybe she was going through something deeper. Identity crisis, burnout, post-wedding blues. I Googled it all like an idiot in denial, but deep down I already knew the truth. She wanted out, but only halfway, just enough to have options without consequences. And somehow I was expected to be okay with that. The next morning, she acted normal, too normal. She wore my hoodie to make breakfast, humming like it was just another Tuesday. No mention of the conversation, no tension in her shoulders. It was like she'd reset herself overnight. I couldn't fake it. I sat across from her, staring at my toast. "You really think we can just ignore what you said last night?" She paused, coffee mug midair. "I didn't say we should ignore it. I said I needed time, space." "That's not how marriage works, Kelsey," she frowned. "You think I don't know that? I'm trying to be honest with you instead of lying or sneaking around. That should count for something." Honesty? That word hit wrong in my ears. Right. So instead of actually cheating, you're asking me to hold the door open while you go flirt your way through self-discovery? Her eyes narrowed. "It's not about flirting." "Then spell it out. What exactly is it about?" She hesitated, just long enough to confirm everything I was afraid of. "It's about me not being ready to give up certain parts of myself yet," she said softly. "I got married young. I don't want to wake up at 40 wondering what I missed." "And what exactly have you missed?" I asked. "More parties? Drunk brunches? Guys in your DMs?" She looked hurt, but not surprised, like she'd expected me to lash out and was already playing the victim in her head. "You're not being fair." "No, Kelsey, you're not. You don't get to put this marriage in a holding pattern because you're nostalgic for chaos." Her voice sharpened. "You think I'm the only one who's confused? You think you've never made me feel trapped?" That caught me off guard. Trapped? How? Just the routine, the expectations. You always want everything to be so stable, so structured. And I'm not wired like that, Derek. I'm not built for predictable. I shook my head slowly. "You married me anyway." "I know," she whispered. "Maybe I thought I'd catch up. Maybe I thought I'd grow into this life. But part of me still feels like I'm watching it from the outside." Silence stretched between us like a wire pulled too tight. And just like that I realized she had never stepped into this marriage with both feet. One foot had always been out the door just in case. She stood up and placed her mug in the sink. "I'm going to yoga," she said. "Let's talk later when we're both calm." "Yoga?" "Of course." She kissed me on the cheek, like a routine, like she didn't just tear open the foundation of everything we built. Then she walked out the door, humming again. And I stood there, the loyal husband, the steady man, left to wonder how the hell I became the guy who needed to wait his turn in his own marriage. I spent the next few days walking through life like someone had turned the color settings down. Work felt like noise. Food tasted like cardboard. Sleep came in brief, stupid bursts filled with dreams where I'd turn to kiss her and she'd vanish. Or worse, be laughing in someone else's arms. She kept acting like everything was normal. She'd head out to her girls' nights, 3, sometimes 4 evenings a week, always with vague plans, always coming back later than she used to, always dressed just a little too nice. Fresh makeup. She'd spritz perfume before leaving, and when she got back, she smelled like wine and cigarette smoke. One night I asked, "Should I even bother asking where you actually were, or are we still pretending it's just girls' night?" She rolled her eyes like I was being so dramatic again. "You know what, Derek? You used to be fun. Now everything's an interrogation." "Because you turned our marriage into a guessing game," I snapped. She sighed, grabbing her tote bag and heading into the bedroom. "You're being paranoid. This is exactly why I said I needed space." Ah, yes. The sacred space. The ever-expanding black hole where her accountability used to live. But I wasn't just guessing anymore. That same night, after she went to bed, phone screen down, as always, I sat there in the living room, in the dark, staring at her laptop across the table. It was open. I wasn't proud of what I was about to do, but I had to know. I tapped the touchpad. The login screen popped up. Password hint, where it all began. That one hit like a brick, because the answer obviously was Tulum 2224, our honeymoon, where we drank cocktails out of coconuts, watched the sun rise from our balcony, and swore we'd never take each other for granted. I typed it in, wrong password. I tried it again with lowercase, no dice. I tried my birthday, her birthday, our dog's name. Nothing. Then it hit me. She changed it. She changed the password from our story to something else. I shut the laptop and sat back, stunned by how loud that one tiny gesture felt. She didn't just lock me out of her digital world. She locked me out of the illusion I'd been clinging to, that we were still us. The next day I came home early from work. Her car wasn't in the driveway, but her bag was still on the floor. Inside, I found a receipt from a rooftop bar, time-stamped last night during girls' nights, 2 cocktails and an appetizer. 2 people. And here's the real kicker. She didn't even try to hide it. No fake receipt, no clever alibi. Just the lazy assumption that I wouldn't check, that I'd just accept whatever version of reality she fed me, like a loyal husband on mute. I didn't confront her that night, or the next. Something in me had shifted. The grief started mutating into something colder, something sharper, not rage, not yet, but clarity. I wasn't losing my marriage, I was waking up from it. The next Saturday, she came home close to 2 a.m. I was on the couch pretending to be asleep, but the TV was still on. She tiptoed in, heels in one hand, phone in the other, whispering something before she noticed me in the blue glow of the screen. "Oh, you're still up," she said, voice light, like this was normal, like she was 22 and living in a college apartment again. I muted the TV. "Was the girls' night good? Or did you switch to co-ed somewhere after midnight?" She blinked, froze for half a second, then rolled her eyes, a move I'd grown to despise. The international symbol for you're making a big deal out of nothing. "Derek, don't start." "No, seriously," I said, sitting up. "Who was it tonight? Miranda? Jess? The mysterious collective of single friends I've never actually seen in the same room?" She dropped her bag on the floor with a thud. "Why are you acting like this?" "Because I've been keeping my mouth shut for weeks," I said, standing now. "And every night it gets more obvious. You're not just bored. You're gone. You've emotionally packed your bags and left. I'm just the guy watering the plants in your old life." She looked down, fiddling with the strap of her purse. "You don't know what it's like to feel like you're missing out." I let out a hollow laugh. "You think I don't? You think I never wondered what it would be like to take off? Be selfish? Disappear into bars and flings and half-hearted freedom? But I didn't. You know why?" She didn't answer. "Because I picked you, fully. I closed the door on all the what-ifs when I said I do. And you? You left it cracked open just in case." Her face changed then, less smug, more defensive. She crossed her arms. "I never lied to you." "That's not true," I said quietly. "You lied every time you said you were happy while planning your escape." She stared at me. Her mouth opened to say something, then closed again. For the first time, she didn't have a clever deflection. Just silence. I walked past her and into the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water just to do something with my hands. Behind me, she finally spoke. "You know, maybe you're right," she said softly. "Maybe I don't know how to be a wife yet." I turned, expecting something, an apology, a tear, anything resembling regret. But instead, she added, "Which is why I think we should take a break. Just for a while. Maybe I'll go stay with Jess for a bit. Give us some space." There it was again. Space. That magical, undefined, consequence-free word she kept pulling out like a get-out-of-jail-free card. I nodded slowly. "Sure, go take your space." "You're not mad?" she asked, a little too surprised. "No," I said, finally calm. "I think you're right. A break would be good." She looked at me, trying to read something in my face, but I gave her nothing. And that's when I knew I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was done. Not with drama, not with suspicion, with her. The morning she packed her bags, she wore denim shorts and that old gray hoodie I used to love, the one she'd always steal from my side of the closet. Funny how something that once made me feel connected now just looked like a costume, like she was dressing up as the woman I thought I married. "I'll just be at Jess's," she said, slinging her tote over her shoulder. "Just a few days, I think, you know. To clear my head." I nodded. Calm. Too calm. "Take all the time you need." She tilted her head like she didn't expect it to be that easy. "You sure you're okay?" "Never better," I smiled, and I meant it. What I didn't tell her was that I had already spent the night before changing every password I owned. Bank accounts, Wi-Fi, streaming services. I wasn't locking her out. I was locking myself in, reclaiming what was mine, my house, my peace, my dignity. The minute her car pulled out of the driveway, I grabbed a box and started collecting her things. Not out of spite, not even anger, just clarity. Makeup bags from the bathroom counter, her half-read empowerment books, the framed photo of us she always kept on the entryway table, face down since the day she told me she wasn't ready. I placed everything neatly in the guest room, shut the door, and sat down on the couch. For the first time in months, the house was silent in a good way, like it could breathe again. I ordered takeout, the greasy kind she always side-eyed. I turned on the dumbest movie I could find and laughed louder than necessary. I didn't miss her, not yet. What I felt was something stronger than nostalgia. It was the warm rush of self-respect. The next day, I called a lawyer. It wasn't about revenge. I didn't want to burn her world down. I just refused to be the guy who waited around while his wife went on an emotional spring break in her 30s. A week went by. She texted a couple of times, vague updates. "Still at Jess's. Hope you're doing okay. Thinking about you. Miss you." I didn't answer, not out of cruelty, out of principle. Then came the bomb. She showed up at the house, unannounced, just as I was getting back from the gym. Hair freshly done, holding an iced coffee like we were about to have a cute little catch-up session. "Hey, stranger," she smiled, stepping inside like nothing had happened. I said nothing, just watched her glance around the living room, scanning for clues. She noticed the guest room door closed. "Are my things in there?" she asked carefully. "Yep." She raised an eyebrow. "You packed up my stuff?" "I reorganized," I said evenly. She sat on the edge of the armrest, trying for casual. "Look, Derek, I've been thinking, maybe I rushed into the whole space thing. I just needed to get some clarity, you know, and I realized something." "What's that?" "I do want to make this work." I nodded slowly, stepping past her, dropping my gym bag by the door. "Good to know," I said. Then I walked into the kitchen, pulled out an envelope from the drawer and handed it to her. She looked at it like it was a dead bird. "What is this?" "Clarity," I replied. "In writing. From my lawyer." Her face cracked, just slightly. "You're filing for divorce?" "No," I said. "I already filed. That's just your copy." The silence that followed was beautiful. She blinked, stunned. "Wait, you're serious?" I smiled. "Kelsey, you wanted freedom. I just upgraded your subscription." She didn't take it well. At first, it was denial. "You're overreacting," she said, clutching the envelope like it was going to dissolve if she held it tightly enough. "You can't just end a marriage over a few weeks apart." I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "I'm not ending it because we spent a few weeks apart. I'm ending it because the entire year before that, I was the only one who thought we were building a life together." She opened her mouth, probably to argue, to twist things into another version that made her the misunderstood free spirit and me the boring, uptight husband. I cut her off. "You asked for space," I said calmly. "I gave you a door, and now I'm walking through it." "But I came back," she insisted, voice climbing. "Isn't that what matters? I realized I made a mistake." "No, Kelsey," I said, eyes locked on hers. You realized I wasn't going to wait forever. There's a difference. Her lip quivered, but I wasn't falling for it this time. You told me you needed to feel free again, that being married made you feel trapped, I continued. But the truth is, you weren't trapped. You were bored. And instead of working through that with your husband, you went searching for a thrill. She didn't deny it. Didn't say a word, just stood there, blinking rapidly, still trying to recalibrate her place in a game she thought she controlled. She didn't say anything else, just quietly picked up her bag, muttered something that might have been fine, and walked out the door without another glance. Then came the second phase, bargaining. Over the next week I got texts. Can we just talk? I miss us. Let's go to dinner like old times. I didn't know what I had. I do now. I left every message on read. She called Paige, our mutual friend, apparently sobbing, saying she made a huge mistake, that she wasn't herself lately, and maybe she panicked. Paige forwarded me the voice note, not out of loyalty to her, but because she said I had the right to hear the kind of performance Kelsey was putting on. And it was a performance. Crocodile tears from someone who only cried when the consequences arrived. By week 2, she pulled out the guilt play. You're really going to throw away everything we built? Built? You mean the house I paid for, the trust I upheld, and the marriage you turned into an intermission? She showed up one more time. I thought you were my best friend, she said, tears in her eyes. I nodded. I was. Silence. Then softly I added, but I deserve someone who chooses me on Monday mornings, not just on Sunday nights when the party's over. She didn't cry, not really, just turned, walked out, and for once, closed the door gently behind her. It's been 2 months since I signed the papers. No fireworks, no screaming matches. Just a quiet courtroom, 2 signatures, and the thud of a stamped folder that meant our marriage was legally over. I didn't throw a party. I didn't burn her pictures. I didn't even tell most people for a while. What I did do was breathe. For the first time in what felt like a year, I exhaled. Kelsey moved in with one of her friends, maybe Jess, maybe someone new. I didn't ask. I didn't care. She reached out once more, a generic "hope you're doing okay" kind of text. I never replied. Yes, I won't deny that I heard rumors from friends that Kelsey had finally started her free life, the one she asked me about, but now without me. I got back to things I used to love. Saturday morning runs, lazy Sunday breakfasts. I picked up guitar lessons again, even joined a local community league. Nothing serious, just some guys shooting hoops and talking trash like high school never ended. It was good, simple, mine. I started seeing someone, eventually. Her name's Harper. She doesn't make grand entrances or disappear for 3 days with no signal. She doesn't need constant validation or a front row seat to her own chaos. She just shows up. Every time. Fully. And one night, as we were sitting on the balcony sipping wine and watching the sky turn that soft shade of indigo, she asked me, "What made you finally let go of your ex?" I thought about it for a moment, then said, "She treated our marriage like a lease. Something temporary, flexible, breakable. But I treated it like a home. I invested. I fixed things. I stayed when it got cold." Harper didn't say anything. She just nodded and reached for my hand. That's when I realized something. I didn't lose Kelsey. I lost the illusion of her. And in that space, the one she begged me to give, I didn't just find peace. I found myself.